Yes, sir. We'd like to welcome everybody to Monday Night Football Madness, presented to you by the Underworld Mix Show and FantasyFootballStud.com. We're down here for the first Thursday night game of the season. Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Atlanta Falcons versus the Baltimore Ravens. 6-2 teams going head-to-head to see what the business is. This is a special edition of the pregame show. We're 8 games, which is halfway through the season. So we're going to talk about the Falcons. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about fantasy football. And we're going to get you ready for the big game tonight. So we're going to run to a quick commercial break and be right back. But once again, it's the Underworld Mix Show and Monday Night Football Madness at the first Thursday night game of the football season. Atlanta Falcons and Baltimore Ravens. Let's go. Yes, sir. It's your boy Ty with Monday Night Football Madness each and every Monday at the Django, located 495 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308. About a 10-minute walk down here from the Dome. And look who I have with me, none other than the Dirty Bird herself on Monday Night Football Madness, the Underworld Mix Show. Why don't you tell everybody out there in Atlanta what's up and let them know what's going to happen tonight.
Hootie hoo, Falcon fans. This is Carolyn, your Atlanta Falcons bird lady. I'm here at the Georgia Dome for Monday Night Madness, which is Monday Night Football here. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Baltimore Ravens is going down like popcorn here. So make sure you're in the place. Enjoy Monday Night Madness every Monday night at the Django here in the Hootie hoo!
Hey, so you heard it first, football fans, straight from the official
Atlanta Falcons bird lady.
Herself, each and every Monday. Come on out to the Django, 495 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308 for Monday Night Football Madness. You may even get a chance to see the beautiful bird.
Hootie hoo. Good. All right. Thanks.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead and kick this special edition of the pregame show off. We got the halfway point through the season wrap up. And of course, since we're down here in Atlanta, Georgia, we're going to start with the Falcons. Now, so far this year, it's been a great year for the Falcons. Right now, halfway through the season, they are currently with 6 wins and 2 losses. As a team, the offense has been real steady, led by, of course, my man Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, out there leading the charge. Right now, ever since Matt Ryan has been with the Falcons have only lost 1 game here at the Dome. So you already know it's going to be a tough outing tonight. With Michael Turner back healthy, that has helped out a lot. It gives the offense a whole lot of balance. Michael Turner's a beast on the ground. He definitely imposed his will last week against Tampa Bay. And with that type of balance, it always makes the play action effective. Of course, Tony Gonzalez, one of the best tight ends ever to play football, is having another pretty good season. I don't think his numbers or the production is right where he wants it to be, but he's had some pretty good games, and he's definitely Matt Ryan's safety net. The biggest star on offense this year has been my man, Roddy White. Roddy's been out there killing it. Roddy is top 5 in the league in TD receptions, and catches, and yards. There hasn't been a corner this year that's been able to stop Roddy. Him and Matty Ice have been the top duo that's hooked up so far this year. The Falcons' offensive line has been pretty steady. When you flip it over to the defensive side of the ball, I would say the defense has done just enough to get by. Different weeks and different games, and that's what you need in a good team. You have different players stepping up on the defensive line. John Abraham is always a beast you got to watch out for coming off the end. Definitely got to shout out my man Curtis Lofton. Curtis Lofton is a beast at middle linebacker. The rookie Sean Witherspoon should be back tonight. So I'm really feeling the Falcons linebacking core. The secondary is where my concerns lie. Again, it's not a star-studded cast, but they do enough to get the job done and get timely turnovers when they need. From a fantasy football standpoint, if you have Matt Ryan on your team, where you were able to pick him up, excellent value. He's giving you at least 15 plus points a week at this point right now. Has not been throwing a lot of interceptions. With the exception of the Philadelphia game. If you have Michael Turner, you got to be pleased once again. Michael has close to 600 yards rushing and 6 rushing TDs right now. And again, if you got Roddy White, you can't go wrong. Roddy went off a couple weeks ago against Cincinnati with 11 catches, 206 yards, 2 TDs, and a 2-point conversion. So once again, we got to shout out Roddy White. If you got Roddy White on your team, good chances are you got a couple victories just put on his shoulders alone. Tony Gonzalez, again, it's been kind of modest, maybe not the fantasy football numbers you've been looking for, but he's still a productive tight end. And that about wraps it up. So again, the Falcons, they play tonight, Baltimore Ravens in town. I'm giving a slight edge to the Ravens solely for the fact that Roddy White is not at 100%, and I think that the Ravens have about the same amount of balance as the Falcons on offense. They have a solid quarterback, they have a good running game, they have more than one wide receiver, they have a tight end in Heat, and I also think Baltimore's defense, especially with Ed Reed in the picture, is a little bit better. So giving a slight edge to Baltimore tonight, but again, the Falcons are 17-1 at home the last 3 years with Matt Ryan under center, and you know the crowd is going to be pumped up tonight. So there is your first half wrap up on the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know, it's going to come down to the wire. I believe the very last game of the season, Atlanta and New Orleans play. I think that game very well may determine the division, but right now the Falcons are 2 games up in the loss column, and you have to like them to win the division. As far as the playoffs go, it's going to be kind of tough, but the only teams I really see giving Atlanta a run for their money are the Giants, the Eagles, and the Packers, and then of course if the veteran Saints can pull it together. So we're gonna hop into a quick commercial break. Once again, we down here live. Make sure to check us out every Monday, the pre-game show. It goes down at the Django from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. This is the Underworld Mix Show and FantasyFootballStud.com. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Yes, sir. Once again, it's Ty in the Underworld Mix Show, Monday Night Football Madness on location, special edition, halfway through the season show down here at the Georgia Dome. Getting ready for the Atlanta Falcons first Baltimore Ravens football game. Big game tonight, 2 6-2 teams, possible Super Bowl preview. I have with me some people actually in town from Baltimore, so I wanted to get some feedback from them and find out exactly what's going on. How do you guys feeling about tonight? What, the Ravens gonna win this game first of all?
A, the Ravens are gonna win. B, it will be a close game.
All right, and so far, you know, since you're actually from Baltimore, how are the fans feeling? What's like the vibe in the city? Are they thinking Super Bowl, playoffs, luck to see?
Very excited. And yes, we're looking at the Super Bowl. Looking to be in Dallas.
Looking to be in Dallas, okay. Now, what about you, other loyal Ravens fans?
That's right. We actually go to Emory University in Atlanta, and there are a good amount of Ravens fans that go to the school as well. And we all feel that the Ravens could possibly make the Super Bowl this year. We're looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll be there in Dallas with them as well.
Okay, sounds good. So you heard it first. Back actually in Baltimore, and then the Baltimore fans who are here in Atlanta. The Ravens got Super Bowl on their mind, and I think tonight is a great test. But a tough road game on a short week for them to test their fortitude to see if they can actually make it happen, all right? So once again, it's Monday Night Football Madness with the Atlanta Falcons and Baltimore Ravens. It's going on down here. We getting ready. It's almost game time. We feeling good. Yo, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Okay, welcome back. Let's go ahead. We started off with the Falcons, so let's go ahead and hop right into the NFC South. First and foremost, we have the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, there has not been a lot to talk about in Carolina this year. The team has just collapsed. They lost Julius Peppers. Delhomme is gone. Offensive line is struggling. Been back and forth between quarterbacks. The running game is not there. Steve Smith has been out of sync. It's just not much to talk about. Even from a fantasy football standpoint, I mean, the Carolina Panthers are one of 2 teams without a win this year, and unfortunately, just not much to talk about. So if you have anybody in fantasy in Carolina, there's something to cheer about. If you're a Carolina Panther fan at this point in the ball game, I would say getting one victory would be a stepping stone that you need to work on first. But with the troubles they've been having this year, I don't see it coming. Next, let's talk about the defending Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints. It's been real up and down for the Saints this year. Injuries have plagued this team big time. They played most of the year without Pierre Thomas. They played most of the year without Reggie Bush. They played most of the year without Darren Sharper. That's the running game and their playmaker on the defensive side of the play ball. But whenever you got Drew Brees at the helm, you always have a chance. At 4-4, halfway through the season, this is not where the Saints want to be. But a veteran squad like that, especially after getting a bye week, I'm quite sure they'll be ready to come out and play ball next year. You can't count the defending Super Bowl champs out, but it's looking like a tough road with 8 games left. Being at 4-4, they definitely have to get their hair screwed on straight. From a fantasy football standpoint, Drew Brees, he's the man. He's had only really one poorest game this year, which was against the Cleveland Browns. But if you got Drew Brees at quarterback, you pretty much know what you're expecting week in and week out. As for the running game, like you said, unfortunately, Pierre Thomas, Reggie Bush, Liddell Betts, Chris Ivory, it's been a carousel. There's been no consistency, so if you have any of those running backs, it's kind of just been hit or miss. Same thing from a wide receiver standpoint. Marcus Colston has not put up great fantasy numbers. Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham, Jeremy Shockey. It just hasn't been there, but the Saints collectively as an offense, they do have weapons. It just hasn't shown up on the fantasy football side. And same thing, if you had the Saints defense, you have to be a little bit disappointed because last year they were such a huge turnover squad, and they have not been able to do that this year. So I would assume that the Saints will play get the playoffs, but I'm not sure about that. Hold on one second. Let's go to a quick commercial break. All right, sorry about that. Had to go to a quick commercial break. Let's go ahead and wrap up the NFC South. We started off with the Falcons. We talked about the Saints. We talked about the Carolina Panthers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of the surprise teams this year in the NFL under young coach Raheem Morris, young quarterback Josh Freeman. They just lost a tough game right here in Atlanta last week on a goal line stand by the Falcons. The Buccaneers are currently 5-3. On the offensive side of the ball, Josh Freeman has been a huge surprise, very consistent in his second year leading this young Tampa Bay squad. He's starting to become Mr. Fourth Quarter with already 6 fourth-quarter comebacks under his belt in just his second year. The running game had been kind of spotty. It started off with Cadillac Williams. Derek Ward got into the mix a little bit, but LeGarrette Blount, the rookie from Oregon, has taken over here in the last couple weeks. He's the bruising type of back that this team needs to provide them with the balance. You got Kellen Winslow, who has had a fairly good year. Their offensive line is doing a good job. This is a very young team. I like what I'm seeing out of the Buccaneers. Got a shout out right now. Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate. I would think he would get most people vote. My man Mike Williams, he's straight from Buffalo, New York, so we got to shout that out. Buffalo, New York in the building, Syracuse University in the building. Mike Williams has been a beast out there. He has become Josh Freeman's go-to man, his security blanket, and they're a real good combination. You want to make sure and watch out for that 1-2 tandem for years to come. On the defensive side of the ball, the stars so far have been in the secondary. My man Aqib Talib is out there doing his thing. He's a ball hawk. He's a cover corner. He's making a lot of things happen on the defensive side of the ball. Ronnie Barber, even though lost a couple steps, he's still very solid in press coverage and his overall instincts holding up the middle. All-pro linebacker Barrett Rule doing a great job, always keeps his nose around the ball, is a great tackler, and on the front line, you have rookie Gerald McCoy, along with the rest of that young Bucks line. They have to step it up a notch and create some more pressure on the quarterback in order for some things to happen. But again, I really like what Tampa Bay is doing with this young squad. I think they have a great future ahead of them if they can keep this team together. Real quick on the fantasy side, again, if you have Mike Williams, especially where you were able to pick him up in a fantasy draft, excellent value. He's had 10+ points in 5 out of 8 games this year. If you have Josh Freeman on the low, a lot of people don't know, Josh Freeman has been one of the more consistent fantasy quarterbacks this year. So if you have him on your team,